So that was a pretty good way to start the tournament for the Six Nations. Very entertaining game. Wales getting the result over France, 24 points to 19. 3 tries to 2. Picamoles and Huget for France in the 6th and the 23rd minute. Interestingly, all those tries in the first half. And then Wales, Thomas Williams in the 47th, George North in the 52nd and 72nd minute. All those in the second half. So definitely a game of two halves. It's a cliche, but in this case it was very true. The French in that first half were just very, very good. They were playing smart. They were dominating the game. And it didn't look like Wales were really going to have a chance to get in it. It was raining, so some of the handling at times left a bit to be desired. There were quite a few knock-ons. The French scrum got penalised early, but they still had all of that possession and territory. Liam Williams was doing some pretty great work at the back for Wales to, I guess, just mop up some of those kicks that were coming through. There was one particular one where the French were building some phases and they put in an up and under, and it stayed in the air for a long time. So it was a very competitive ball, but Williams managed to bring it down and kind of put out that fire for Wales. So, they were doing well to get that mark and to keep the French out. But eventually Picamoles got that first try. He kind of did well to make the most of that chance. Like, there was a little half gap, but he was still kind of covered, but managed to just cut back, and Anscombe wasn't able to get forward on him. Just smart play from an experienced guy. It was only a half chance, but he still took it pretty well. I mean, they did manage to get the tackle on him, but by that point he was close enough to the line he could just kind of fall over. He's a pretty big guy, and he was running up against some backs. Neither side was doing much with the boot in that first half, because France missed a penalty on the 11th minute. I think that was Para kicking for that one. And then Anscombe missed one a few minutes later. Liam Williams got denied a try on about 17th minute, where Navidi got a strip. And then Williams managed to do that little jinking driving run that he does. And just managed to lose it as he was going towards the line. The TMO picked up on that. Then Huget got his try down the wing. The Welsh defence was under pressure out wide and wasn't able to hold, and it was just all France. 10-0, Anscombe missed a penalty. Lopez kicked the penalty, made it 13-0. And then Lopez got a drop goal right on half-time. So it was 16-0 at half-time. And it was really looking like all France. I talked up Wales a bit in terms of having a decent schedule. Obviously, the schedule is not ever going to be the sole reason anyone does anything in a competition, but it's a factor. And then part of that was having to go and get a result with France. And it didn't look like it was going to happen at all. I mean, run meters in the first half, France 270 to Wales' 143, possession 63% France, territory 70% France. So it was just all France. Wales conceded double the amount of penalties, 6-3 in that first half. So, yeah, man, it was looking not good, but Getz at halftime must have said something to the boys. Made a few tweaks and changes, and Wales came out firing in that second half. They were actually managing to build phases. Like, everything went wrong for them in that first half. Nothing was going right. Handling errors. Anscombe kicked, like when they did have some space for him to kick into, kicked it out on the full. We saw a lost lineouts of their own. We saw less of that in the second half. Wales were able to control the ball a bit more. Josh Adams picked a really good gap, and Thomas Williams went through for the try for that one. George North's try, first one was ridiculous because I think it was Parks that kicked the ball through. And Huget had miles of time, and I saw North chasing hard, and I was thinking to myself, man, you're wasting your energy. He's never going to, you're not even close enough to really put pressure on him. He doesn't even know you're there. But Huget, he grabbed it and then bobbled it, and it just sat there for North, and he went over for a try. So what do I know? Credit to North for chasing through high energy when it seems like absolutely nothing is on, because that 1 in 100 chance that something happens, you're there to make the most of it. So very smart, and that was try. Scoreline at that point was still France in front, 16-14. But not that long after, Lopez missed a penalty, and Bigger, who came on around 50 minutes along with Gareth Davis, kicked his penalty. So 62 minutes, Wales go in front for the first time, and the momentum had just totally shifted. But then France still kind of came back into it. They weren't done. It wasn't like they just rolled over in that second half. Because at one point, Wales had really pushed the stats, kind of possession and territory in their favour, but France ended up still pushing back. Lopez kicked the penalty, put France back in front, but it was North with an intercept on Vahamina's pass. Really well read. Probably a pass that didn't need to be thrown, but it was good enough for North. He went through, scored the try, and that was the way it finished. So, very, very good result for Wales. Obviously, they'll be a bit disappointed with that first half, but what an amazing comeback. France have shown us that they can play well. After a pretty disappointing 2018, they've shown a bit of bite, but again, it's putting in an 80-minute performance, which will be the big question for them. The kind of consistency thing still is an issue. But I mean, like I said, Liam Williams had a really big game. Picamoles was kind of everywhere for France. Lopez put some pretty good control in that game. Lambe looked good when he came on. He caught bigger behind the advantage line at one point to really put France in it. But man, like France at the end, like I said, how they pushed back, they had so many times where they would start building pressure and would knock it on. Building pressure, and then they would lose the scrum. Although there was one scrum that they did win. Got a penalty. One point they went 21 phases in Wales's half and then threw a forward pass. 77th minute they got a penalty, took a line out, built the phases, knocked it on. I mean, Wales right at the end got a penalty of their own, kicked it out, just needed to win the line out to close the game, lost the line out. So both sides definitely have a bit to work on. But for Wales, like, that's the result you had to get. Doesn't really matter how you go about it. Even if the first 40 was not the best, they definitely showed some steel in the second 40 to get the result. France, it's not all doom and gloom, but hey, it's never good to lose a match at home. So, final stats. They were evened up a little bit. Run meters were pretty similar, both in the early 400s. France still with more per possession, 57, and more territory, 63. Tackling percentages were both in the mid-80s, so 85% for France, 88% for Wales, but the number of tackles is a huge difference. Wales, 146 tackles to France's 82. Some, I guess, key performers in terms of stats. With the ball, Huget, despite that kind of calamitous gift of a try he gave to North, still had 70 run meters of his own, scored a try, 2 clean breaks, 3 defenders beaten. Liam Williams, like I said, who was shutting things down defensively, also with the ball, 88 run meters, 7 defenders beaten, 2 clean breaks. He really has that knack of just avoiding tackles. Defensively, Fofana for France made 10 from 10, which is a pretty good shift, but Tipperick for Wales, 19 out of 19 tackles. That guy is always immense, one of my favourite players, definitely a fun guy to watch. But as I said, definitely not clinical enough from either side. But if you're a Wales fan, you should definitely be very, very chuffed with your team coming back from 16 points down to get a win over in Paris first round of the Six Nations. If you're a French fan, well, your team showed a bit in that first half, but just a bit of consistency. And the second half, it was just some of the execution that was poor. You guys let me know your thoughts on the game. Kind of key players, key moments, moments you enjoyed, any controversies you guys caught hold of, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.